Beginning the current Daf Yomi Shabbos Daf Kufya test, we get 6 lines down at the top of the Amud. We continue the discussion on the previous Daf. We're discussing Kavod Shabbos, any Shabbos. And our Daf is primarily Agadata regarding the preparation and the honor we give to Shabbos Kodesh, to the Holy Shabbos. Ashir is co-sponsored by Kalzach and Nefesko Torah Anytime Daf Chaim. Some of these we're going to be discussing today's Daf is the Gemara records how various Amorim would prepare for Shabbos Kodesh. The famous story of Yosef Moike Shabbos. And when most young children have heard the story about Yosef who honored Shabbos and he got a great reward because of that. Also, the halachas of setting the table before Shabbos and after Shabbos from Malav Malk, even if you're not going to really eat so much, there's still a special important mitzvah to set the table. The great merit of entering Amen and the main Shmirabba Mevarach and what it does to a person. And then a long discussion about which Aver caused the destruction of Yerushalayim. It comes into the discussion because one of the opinions relates to that of Shabbos, but then there's many different opinions what caused the Churban Yerushalayim. Some of the important terms and concepts we're going to have is Aser b'shvil shedes Asher. Give Meiser, give a tithe of your money so that you become wealthy. And also regarding Teneged Shabbos Rabbin, an important discussion regarding young Jewish children when they learn Torah, it supports the whole world. So we continue, we're at 6 lines down at the top of the Amud and Kufya Testament Aleph. We're in the middle of discussing how various Amorim would prepare for the Shabbos Kodesh. The Gemara brings that Reb Chanina me'atev v'koyed. So Rashi says that means to say that he would put on beautiful clothing. The Rambam says that he would wrap himself in the towels with tzitzis. Rabbi as a day they would get themselves ready apani demali Shabbasa on Erev Shabbos. And Omer he would say, Boyo v'neitzei, come, let's go out. Likor Shabbos Hamalka to greet the Shabbos queen. Rabbi Yanai, Lavish Mani Mali Shabbos. He would put on special clothing on Erev Shabbos. Vaman, he would say, Boi Kala, come O bride, where he was calling the resting of Shabbos because it was so dear to them, that of Shabbos they would call it like the bride. Everyone's so excited to greet the bride. That's exactly how we feel when we come to Shabbos. The Medrash says because Shabbos is the Bazugah of Klal Yisrael. It's the spouse of the Jewish people. Is Shabbos, and therefore we call it the Kala. The Gemara says that Rabbi Bar Avhun Ikla Bei Rabbi Bar of Nachman. He came to his house, and Karibu Leitlas Save Tachya. They brought him 3 saw, which was a large measurement of these wafers, which were smeared with the fat of a tail or with oil. These fatty, good, delicious wafers. So Amalei said to him, did you know that I was coming? You prepared such a delicious dish? Amalei, they said to him, do you think you're better to us than her? Meaning, more than the Shabbos, we prepared to Kavod Shabbos. We didn't know that you're coming. Shabbos Kodesh, we make all this good food, and you came on the right day. The Gemara says that Rabbi Abba Zavan, he bought Betleser Astiri Pshiti, with 13 common Astiri, which that's what's called the Sela Medina. There's 2 types of Slam. A Sela is a certain type of a coin. There was a Sela Tsuri, which is the more princely type of coin, and then there was the common Sela, which is 1/8 of that, which is like a half of a dinar. So for 13 common astiri, which is a type of coin, he would buy bisra, he would buy meat, mitleiser tabachi, from 13 butchers, because he wanted to taste on Shabbos from the best types of dishes. You know, people say, for my liver, I go over there. For my chalton, I go over there. For my yapchik, I go over there. So we go to 13 butchers to get meat. And there's 2 interpretations for the next sentence. Umeshalam lehu atzinuri dedasha. Either that means to say that before they would even come to bring him the meat, he already had the money ready for them by the pivot of the door. By the entryway of the door, he had the money already ready. Vamlu, he would tell them, Ashur, be strong, high, quick. Ashur, high, be strong, be quick. Meaning, in other words, come on, do your job quick, because I got a lot of stores I got to go to. I got a lot of meat to buy for Shabbos. That's one interpretation. Or Rashi brings another interpretation, is that when he would bring the meat from one store, he would give it to his attendants who were preparing the meals for him for Shabbos by the entryway of his own house, and he wouldn't even come in. He would say, guys, take this quickly, prepare this because I'm coming back from another store, I'm getting more meat, and do this very quickly because I'm coming back soon with another delivery. So either it means to say that he was mashlim, he would have it paid up by the store's door, or mashalim, he would have them get it ready by his own door. He would just like drop it off and says, guys, I'm coming back soon. I'm going to another store, I got more meat to pick up. So obviously we're illustrating here the great honor that people had for Shabbos to buy all this delicious food. The Gemara says that Rabbi Vo, he would sit on a stool of ivory, which was very distinguished. He was a very wealthy person. and he would flame the fire, l'kavod Shabbos. So we see, although he was a wealthy person, he probably was wearing some beautiful types of clothing, and he had this ivory stool, but still, l'kavod Shabbos kodesh, he wanted to do something, so he would flame the fires sitting on this stool. That was his Rebbe's Maisa, sitting there and flaming the fire, l'kavod Shabbos kodesh. Rav Anan, lavish gunda. So he actually would wear black clothing to show that today's not a day of acting distinguished, to not be busy with cooking for Shabbos, because if you're wearing nice clothing, you don't want to get dirty. So it's like, no, we're putting on black clothing today. You get that smock on, and we're getting dirty today because we're preparing for Shabbos. As the Gemara brings the Tanri Bishma, as it's taught in the Brayso Bishma, which we taught on the previous Daf, but Godim Shabishlam and Kader LaRabbi, the clothing that you wear to cook the pot for your master, Al Yimzik Ben Kais LaRabbi, you don't pour the cup for your master. Because when you're cooking, you get dirty. So that's why people wear these aprons. See, we put on black clothing. Says, guys, let's go. Roll up your sleeves. We're going to get dirty here because we're preparing for Shabbos Kodesh. Rav Safra is a famous song that's made out of these words. Rav Safra Machrach Reisha, he would singe the head. In other words, if they had the head of an animal to singe, so he would do it himself. He wouldn't let just the helpers around the house. For the honor of Shabbos. Rav Malch Shibuta, he would salt the fish called Shibuta. Rav Hana Madlik Shragi, he would light the candle. Rav Papa Gadol Psilasa, he would spin the wick, meaning to make it into a wick. He would take the cotton and make it into a wick. Rav Chizda Parm Silka, he would go in and cut the beets. Rabbi Rab Yosef Metzalchi Tzivi, they would split the wood. So you have the wood to cook the food, to make the fire. Rab Zeir Metzasis Tzasuse, he would actually make the fire go up by taking these small twigs and again putting that into the fire. Menachem Yitzchak, he would do mekasav ayil. He would shoulder and bring things in. Mekasav nothing. He would shoulder and take things out on Erev Shabbos. Meaning he was schlepping packages in and out, bringing in all this, deliveries. His wife went shopping, and he's going and getting all the delicious desserts and all these types of things that they have. Is like someone who's receiving his master, his Rebbe, his leader, and he's showing some type of distinguishment. And he's very careful to make sure everything's done the right way, and he's doing it himself because you can't delegate and facilitate things. Certain things you got to do. If you want to get your job well done, you do it yourself. So this was the same thing when Shabbos is coming. He said, "Ilu mekanli Rabami Rabasa." Let's say the great Rabami Rabasa would come to me. Mila mechasif nekamai. Wouldn't I be schlepping stuff myself? I'd say, Rebbe, come here, and I would take it myself. So the same thing as when Shabbos comes. Shabbos says you don't just get the helper to do everything. You help alone because you want to show honor and dignity to your master, to your Rebbe, to a great person. Some say it was the same story. It just wasn't that Rabami Rabasi were the ones that he used as the figure, but rather Rabami Rabasi was they themselves. Mekasav Ayla, Mekasav Nafki, they would schlep things into the house, schlep things out. On Erev Shabbos, taking out the garbage, bringing stuff in. They said, Il Iklon Rabbi Yechanan. If Rabbi Yechanan would come to us, then Mila Mechasvina Kamei, wouldn't we go ahead and schlep the stuff on ourselves? And therefore, again, this is all illustrating the great honor that the great Amaron had for Kavod Shabbos. And this is where we introduce another great story of honoring Shabbos with its great reward, known as Yosef Maker Shabbi. Yosef, who honored Shabbos, he was very intent on honoring Shabbos. So this Yosef Maker Shabbi probably moved into an area, like sometimes we have in this neck of the woods, where he had a non-Jew in his neighborhood. He had a lot of money, a lot of estate. So they said to this non-Jew, the Kaldoi, the astrologers, the stargazers, they said, Kuli Nixi, all your properties, Yosef Maker Shabbi Achlu. It's going to be consumed by this Yosef Maker Shabbi who honors Shabbos. It's all going to end up being in his hands. So this guy was all afraid. He said, okay, this Jew's going to take away all my money. So what did he do? Azli went. He sold all his properties, sold off everything, all his stocks, all his bonds, everything, all his real estate. He sold it all. Then Zavim Barganisa, he went and he bought a pearl. He figured, look, if I have it in my own, who knows, stocks, these things I have no control over. It says he went, he bought a pearl, and Isvei Bisyane, he put it into his hat. He made a hat out of felt, and he put in the settings of gold, he put different pearls, and they put this precious pearl in there, which Sione means a hat, which actually Rabbeinu Alevi actually has a different gear. Rashi brings. It means Bisidane, it was like in a sudin, like a kerchief. But the famous story, and Rashi likes the interpretation, he put into his hat. Now, but he figured if it's in his hat, no one's going to be able to take it away from him, or his life, or his death, and then he'll hold on to that pearl. This Jew's not getting it. But Bahadi de Ka'avim Mavra, when he was going over a bridge once, Afachei Zika, the wind blew his hat off, Shadi Ramai blew into the water. Bali Kavra, a fish swallowed the hat, and Naskur, they took it out, the fish, And Naisua Panya de Mali Shabbos, they brought it very close to sundown on Friday evening into the marketplace. They said, Man Zav and Kash, who's going to buy right now? It's already so late in the day. No one's buying fish. Everyone's got fish already from early Friday morning. So Amalahu, they said to the guy who caught the fish, Zilam to you, Ligabe Yosef Maker Shabbat. Go bring it to Yosef, who on the Shabbos, the Ruggle the Zavan, he's going to buy you. Show him a good fish. He says, yeah, come on, the covered Shabbos Kodesh, put it on the bill, and he's going to take it. So I'm to you now, so they brought it to him, and Zavna, he bought it. Kari, they tore open the fish. Achkach be barganis, they found this pearl, and Zavni betleser Elisa the dinu dahava. He was able to buy with it 13, as Rashi says, addicts, or as Tais says, a certain type of a vessel, but obviously it's 13 of a large amount of golden num, which Rashi says in general, we find in Shas that the number 13 is an exaggeration. It just means to say that it was a large quantity of money that he got for that pearl. And Pagabeahu Sabbath, so there was an elderly person that encountered this Yosef Mekashabe, which Tais elsewhere says a tradition that means it was Eliyahu Navi. Amar, he said to him, Man di Yosef Shabbata, the one who borrows for Shabbos, Pari Shabbasa, the Shabbos pays him back. And that's why he had this great reward, because he always showed deference to Shabbos, that he got this pearl from this person. Now, relating to the reward of mitzvahs, including that of Shabbos, which is going to be one of the sources, the Gemara says, Rebbe asked Rabbi Shloimy Schwartzberg, Ashir Eretz Yisrael, the wealthy people in Eretz Yisrael, but why do they merit to this great wealth? Somebody said to them, because they give tithe, they take the meiser and they give it to where it's supposed to go. Shlomo says the pasuk in the Devarim, it says aser to aser. Why say a double terminology of tithe? You should surely tithe. So actually, the word could be read with a shin, with the dot on the right instead of the left. Aser b'shul shetis asher. Give meiser so that you become wealthy. If you give a tithe of your money, Hashem's going to say, look at this guy. He's a great guy who takes care and gives where it's supposed to go to, and therefore Hashem's going to give you more money to share that wealth. Now, so he says, okay, but in Bavel, in Babylon, which there is no biblical meiser, but Mahin Zeichen, how do they merit the great wealth? They don't have the same meiser in Torah. They said to him, because the honor Torah, Bavel was the bastion where we learned Talmud Bavli. This is where the Torah Shabbat Peh flourished. So because they honor the Torah, that's why they're wealthy. He says, okay, but and all the other lands, we call it out of town, where they don't have the great yeshivas and whatever, they don't have Torah like in Babel. So how did they merit great wealth? So he said to him, because they honor Shabbos, that's why they become so wealthy. As the Gemara brings the story, says, he says, one time I was a guest by my host, a homeowner in Ludkia. They brought in front of him a table of gold, which was masay shisha also in the other. It was carried. It was a type of table that had to be carried by 16 people. That's how heavy it was, made out of gold. The sheish esrei shal shalosh shal kesed kavuz had 16 chains of silver attached to this golden table. The ka'aris, and it had plates, the cases and bowls and cups and the kitanias and ladles with slichis and bottles that kavuz by that were attached to this table. V'alov kol mini meichel, and all types of food, b'chomin megadim, all types of delights, and besamim and spices. That essentially, this guy was fabulously wealthy. Well, when they would put down the table, when they would bring the table with the food, they would say a parak in Tehillim, which some people have the custom to say. L'Hashem ha'aretz ha'maloya b'gomer. To Hashem is the earth and its fullness, which we have no permission to have benefit until we bless Hashem, the bracha on the bread. When they would take away the table after they finished eating, they would say the pasuk in Tehillim, Hashemayim Shemayim L'Hashem. The heaven is for Hashem, but the earth He gave to mankind through His gift. We're able to have this benefit of this goodness of all the food that He gave us. So Martilai, so again, this guy was very wealthy, and he said to him, Beni, my son, what do you merit? How did you make it? What do you think the merit was that you got so wealthy? So Amalei said to me, look, Katavi, I was actually a butcher. Every animal that was good piece of meat, a good cut, Marti, I said, Zutei Shabbos. This should be for Shabbos. Marti I said to him, Shrecha shezachisa. Praiseworthy that you merited. And blessed is Hashem that merited you for this thing, because he said, no, we're saving this for Shabbos. This is the snack bags. This is the Shabbos. And we're saving that for Shabbos. That's why in other lands, out of Babel and Eretz Yisrael, they become wealthy, because again, they show honor to their mate, that of Shabbos Kodesh. I think brings another famous story related to this. The Caesar said to Rabbi Shloimy Schwartzberg, why is it that the Shabbos food has such a good smell, such a good aroma? You wonder something like what's so the cholent on Sunday didn't taste, or on Friday as good on Shabbos. What's that smell? Somebody said in Tavlin Echad Yeshlam. He says, I want you to know we have a certain spice. V'Shabbos Shemay, and it's called Shabbos. We put inside the food, and that gives it a good aroma. So Malay sees said to him, 10 lopim, give me from this. It's not in my pantry in the palace over here. I want that spice. Malay said to him, no, call Shabbos Shabbos. Whoever keeps Shabbos, Moile, that helps for him the spice. Shabbos, whoever doesn't keep Shabbos, in the Moile doesn't help for him. Shabbos is about being present in your life. And that's Shabbos. If you keep Shabbos, then you get that. If you don't, it's all that subjective experience of Shabbos. Is you're not going to have the same thing. Shabbos is boring. Shabbos is stupid if you don't keep Shabbos. If you keep Shabbos, then suddenly, somehow, you become more sensitive to your life, more mindful, more appreciative, and then you have that spice, then it has that aroma, and you're not going to get it because you don't have Shabbos. Continuing this theme regarding Kavod Shabbos, Amalei Resh Galusa. The Resh Galusa said to Rav Nun, he says, what does it mean the pasuk in Yeshaya? The pasuk says, this is the pasuk in Yeshaya, which says, we quoted this pasuk in the previous daf, which regarding that on Shabbos you should call it that of delight, and it says, L'kteisha Hashem mechubed. For the holy things of Hashem should be honored. Now, from the fact that it says already in the pasuk, "V'karas l'Shabbos einig," this is a pasuk in Yeshaya which says, we quoted this pasuk elsewhere. It already says that you should recite for Shabbos as delight. So when you're saying "L'kdeish Hashem mechubed," that sounds like you're talking about something else. What's the holy thing of Hashem that you should honor that's not referring to Shabbos? So Malay says you're right. It's referring to a different day that's similar to Shabbos that you also have to honor. With Zeh Yom Kippurim, that refers to Yom Kippurim. There's no eating, there's no drinking. So how are you honoring Yom Kippurim? So the Torah says, you should honor Yom Kippurim b'chsus nekiya, with clean clothing. So although you can't do the eating drinking part, but the pasuk is alluding to Yom Kippurim that you still have to honor. Now, and then the Gemara says, okay, but then there in that pasuk that it says v'chibadatai, that you should honor it, which is obviously going on Shabbos, because if it's regarding Yom Kippurim, you already said L'kadesh Hashem mechubed. What does that mean to honor Shabbos? So Rambam, he says lahaktim. That means to say that the time of your Shabbos meal should be earlier than you eat it on during the weekday. That's the honor for Shabbos, that you're getting ready quickly, you're going to eat it sooner than you eat in the weekday. Ushmulam, he says no, it actually means la'acher, it means to delay your meal. That's the honor where you're really hungry, you're waiting, it's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, already. That's the honor for the Suda of Shabbos, which actually Taisa says they're not really disagreeing. Rav is talking about someone who usually eats late, eat early, showing that Shabbos is coming, we're going to eat. And someone who usually eats very early says, okay, push it off, eat as late as the Taisa says. We're going to see in the Gemara right now that illustrates that idea, because we actually have this very much as the next Gemara says. Amrulei b'nei Rav Papa barabal Rav Papa. They said, Kigoyin non like us, the shchichlan bisr v'chamer kol yema. We have in America, in the Western world, we have meat and wine every single day. So b'mayna shani, how is Shabbos really different than all other days of the week? You're not really doing anything different. We have, Baruch Hashem, so much food. People have meat every single night. People have wine. So what are you doing Shabbos differently to show that it's Shabbos? So Malui said to them, if you normally eat your meal very early in the morning, so then delay it. So then again, you're going to get hungry. You're showing a difference. You're showing there's something different here regarding Shabbos. And if you usually eat your meal late, do it early. So again, that change is going to show that you're doing something differently for Shabbos, to show that, okay, today's Shabbos, and that's showing that you're doing something special for Shabbos. Now, something interesting, says the Gemara, they really wanted people to eat the Suda Shabbos. Rav Sheshes, who was actually blind, he couldn't see the clock to know what time was time to go eat the Suda, and he would lecture on Shabbos. So what he would do was, Bekita in the summer months, Ma'isiv l'Rabban, he would put the rabbis, Heicha de Mata Shimsha, where the sun would get there at that time. I mean, he obviously, if you usually know in your house, where's the sun, in the east or the west, in the front of your house and behind your house, you decide depending on where the sun is. So he would specifically sit them, let's say he knew that people had to go eat their Suda by Chatzais time, whatever, like 11:30, so he would sit them in that place where when it came time to eat, they would be hot because the sun is there and they would be in pain, and they would get up and go eat the Suda. And he specifically did that because he wanted them to eat the Suda. Besisva in the winter, Ma'isavul Rabbani would sit the rabbi Tula, where the shade would get there and it would get cold, so that they should get up quickly. Again, he wanted people to get up. Learning is nice, but you have to go out and eat the Suda Shabbos. So he specifically put them in locations where they would get either hot or cold to get up and eat the Sudas. The Gemara brings Reb Zera, as we continue number base, Mahadra Zuzi Rabbanan. When he would see peers of rabbinic students sitting and learning Torah, he would go after them, and Amalhem, he would tell them, he says, I beg of you, go and involve yourself in Einig Shabbos. Lo techalelune. Don't go ahead and desecrate the Shabbos to not enjoy the tanugim, the delights of Shabbos. Go, ni es. Guy has to see that. Don't sit here and just learn. That's important, but it's also important to do covenant on Shabbos. Now, regarding the beginning of Shabbos, that we talk about the preparations for Shabbos. So Amar Rav Avitim, some say Rabbi Shloimy Schwartzberg says, "Afili yochel mispal be'erev Shabbos." Even if someone is davening by himself on Friday night, tzarich lo vayechulu. He has to say vayechulu, which the parsha in Bereshis that we say vayechulu. Now, why is it so important to say vayechulu? Because the Amar Rav Nuni says, "Kol mispal be'erev Shabbos vayechulu." If you daven Friday night and you say vayechulu, it's like as if you became a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the act of creation. Why? Because remember the pasuk says vayechulu. Now, literally translated is vayechulu hashemayim v'ha'aretz v'chatzavam, that the heaven and the earth and all the constellation, they were finished. But it says the Gemara, Al-Tikri vayechulu, that they were finished, vayechalu, that they finished. Meaning they finished the creation of the earth, which refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, and the one who's talking about the praise of Hashem and the praise of Shabbos, by saying vayechulu and that you're making a special announcement regarding Shabbos, you are as if you are a partner with Hashem in the act of creation. As actually a similar type of a teaching, he tells us, Rabbi Lazar, and he says, where do you know that speech is like an action? We hear the guy just saying vayechulu, and it's as if he also created heaven and earth with Hashem. Shemak says a pasuk in Tehillim, it says, B'dvar Hashem, with the word of God, Shemayim Nasu, heaven was made. Which you see that it's the word of Hashem that made the heavens, so to the person who's saying vayechulu, it's as if he also made heaven and earth. Amar Rav Chizda Amar Rokfa says, Kol Mispal B'erev Shabbos vayechulu, whoever davens Friday night and says vayechulu, Shnei Malach Hashar Samalav Adam, the two heavenly angels that escort a person. In general, in Talmudic literature, we find that two ministry angels are always escorting a person, but especially on Friday night. They put his hands on his head and they tell him a pasuk in Yeshaya. Your sins will be departed, and your sins will be forgiven. That is, if a person says vayechulu, again, we said if you do Shabbos, if they forgive you all your sins, that's the blessing they put on his head. Which, similarly, regarding Kavod Shabbos and regarding angels, a famous halacha, Tanya Lud Nabraisim. Basically, it says, Shnei Malach Hashar Malav L'Adam B'Erev Shabbos. There's two ministering angels that escort a person on Friday night. From shul to his house. One, so to speak, a good angel, one's a bad angel. When he comes home, if they find that the candles are lit, and the table is set, and the beds, all the things are covered, they're all set. So Malach Tevayim, the good angel, says he writes and let it be the will. That for the next Shabbos it should also be the same. Malach Ra'ayin and the bad angel has to say Amen, that it should be like that against his will. Then but if not, if let's say the table is not set and the candles are not lit and all those different things, so Malach Ra'ayin, the bad angel, says he writes and let it be the will. That it should be like this the next Shabbos. Malach Tevayim and the good angel has to answer Amen against his will, because generally we know what is going to be. And unless something changes, it's going to stay the same. And if it's like this week, it's going to be like that next week. And in a spiritual way, we use the terminology of angels, but that's the way it's going to be. And therefore, it continues to be the same thing until something changes the next week too. And the Gemara says about setting the table, the person should always set his table on Erev Shabbos, which is for Friday night. He's not going to eat much. He's going to eat just a gazayis. He's on this keto diet, on the starvation diet, whatever it is, he's not eating nothing, forget about carbs, nothing. That's like kazai is yotzizah, right? So you think that, okay, what's the point of setting the table? I'm just going to take the left brisachal and I can't eat, it's too late already, whatever. No, it says the Gemara, you should prepare the table like a whole set-up table, even if you can eat only kazais. And so Dvar B'Chanina says, a person always set his table on Matzah Shabbos. Again, even if he only needs a kazayis, that's also considered Kavod Shabbos when you set the table on Matzah Shabbos, because you're escorting as a way of honor, like a person who's escorting the king who's leaving the city. So too, when Shabbos is leaving, you set the table a whole spread, even if you can eat just a little bit, it's still a sign of honor when you set the table like that too. And regarding this, what we call Malav Malkam, which is escorting the queen, which is the Suda Matzah Shabbos. So the Gemara says, Chamed b'Matzah Shabbos. Hot water, whether to drink or whether to bathe, which many people do both of these. They have a hot drink on Matzah Shabbos and they take a shower on Matzah Shabbos. Is melugma. It's therapeutic. So to pas Chamed b'Matzah Shabbos, warm bread, fresh warm bread on Matzah Shabbos, which this is very much practiced in Jewish circles, getting pizza on Matzah Shabbos, which is warm bread. It's also melugma. It's also therapeutic. It's also healing to do that on Matzah Shabbos. Now, the Gemara brings a story regarding the the treatment of the Malava Malkum, Rebavo have a Abdun Le'apuka Shabbat, Rebavo, they would make for him, when Shabbos was over, meaning for the Suda Malava Malka, on Matzah Shabbos, Igla Tilsa, a third born calf, which was considered the most choicest type of a meat, because it's not the mother's first time having a baby, it's not too late, it's like really the prime meat that you have from an animal. And have he would eat the kidney of, they would slaughter a whole calf, the most choicest meat, and he would eat the kidneys. That was a special treat he would have for the Suda Malav Malka. Now, when the son, trying the Yin Gezin gets cleaved, when the son Avimi got older, Amalei says to the father, he says, I said, I don't get you. Why are you wasting so much money? You anyways cut meat for Shabbos. Save the kidneys from Erev Shabbos. Are you making a special calf? You're cutting it up and you're losing all that meat just because of the kidney? Save the one from Friday. So Shavku, so they left it from Friday and they didn't go ahead and slaughter a special one for Matzah Shabbos. And a lion came and ate the calf that he would have slaughtered for Matzah Shabbos, showing that you don't gain. You're showing trouble for Shabbos. It's not something that's a waste. It's something that a merit, and anyway he lost that calf because the lion ate it. Now another teaching from Amir B'Shuma Levi, once we introduced B'Shuma Levi, an unrelated, seemingly unrelated teaching, he says, Kol ha'ina amen yehesh me'rabim mevarach. Whoever responds into a minyan and he says amen, which is responding to what was said before, Yisgadol will be Skadish, and he says, let the great name of Hashem be blessed. If he says b'chol koiche, with all his famous machlokes Rashi and Taisus, either b'chol koiche means with all his intent, or like Taisus brings in the Ri, it means with his great voice. I mean, he says it's out loud. Amen, Yehi, Shmei Rav. So either he's focusing, like Rashi b'chol kavanase, or b'kol ram. It's mavatal all these gezeres kashas. Currently, Gzardinai, they tear up for him his bad decrees. Like it says the pasuk in Shaftim. It says b'froi perois b'Yisrael, when they avoided the troubles of the Jewish people. V'snadiv baruch Hashem, when the people dedicated to bless Hashem, which, as Rashi explains, what the Gemara is saying is when the Jewish people have a donating of their heart, meaning to bless their Creator, that's what the Gemara explains. My time before a praise. Why is it that they avoided all the troubles? Is Mishum de Baruch Hashem, because they blessed Hashem, which is Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba. When you say Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba, so that's before a praise for Yisrael, that tears up the Gzar Din. So to Reb Chia Barabba, he says, even though he has traces of idolatry, of idol worship, they're still going to forgive him. Because here it says that they nullified the praise. What does praise mean? So we translate it as troubles, but there's a pasuk over there in Shemais when it talks about the egel, and it talks about that Moshe saw that the nation Kipparuhu, because they were uncovered, because Aaron had uncovered them by having them do the egel. So therefore, we see that the pasuk is saying when you nullify praise, which as it talks about by the egel, which was a Zara, refers to praise, Peruhu, we see that that's going to be submerged and forgotten. It's not going to be recalled their sin. Why? Because it's not of because the nation is having a more of an expressive type of a feeling with a Baruch Hashem, with a bless Hashem, which refers to Amen Yishmer Rabba. So that's the source that we see that it even forgives for traces of idolatry. And Amir Shlakish, she says, Kala ina Amen b'chol koich. And now we're not saying Amen Yishmer Rabba, saying any Amen. If you say with all your strength, they open up for the person the gates of paradise. It's the pasuk in Yeshaya. Pischush arm, open up the gates. And let the righteous nation come. Shomer emunim, who literally means to say that they safeguard the faith. But al tikru shomer emunim, don't read that they safeguard the faith. El sha'imim amen. The word emunim could be amenim, where they are shomer sha'imim emunim, that they say amen. If they say amen, then it opens up the gates of Gan Eden, of paradise. Says my amen. What does really the word amen mean? So Amar Reb Chanina says it's an acronym. Kel, the God that's Melech Neman, that's the trustworthy king. Meaning whoever says amen is testifying in his Creator that he is a trustworthy, faithful king. That's our God. Which place actually brings that that's what a person should think about when he's saying amen. He should be thinking that it's a God, that's a trustworthy king. That's the acronym of Amen, is Kel Melech Nema, which are the three words we say when we're not in a minyan and we're saying Shema, we say Kel Melech Nema. Now, continuing on this theme regarding Shabbos, so I'm going to be the berader of Shmuel, he's B'Shmei Derab. He says, Ein ad leika mitzuya, you don't find fires that consume buildings, El b'makom sheyesh chilul Shabbos, only in a place where there's a desecration of Shabbos. The famous waist shirt triangle in the Lower East Side, famously on Shabbos. Because the pasuk in Yirmiyah says, "V'mloi sishmu elai lekadosh yom Shabbos." If you're not going to listen to me to sanctify the day of Shabbos, ulabilti seis masa b'goyman. If you're not going to carry the burden for not carrying burdens, etc., meaning about keeping Shabbos. V'itzati ish b'shareh, I'm going to light a fire in its gates. V'achla armonos Yerushalayim, it's going to consume the palaces of Yerushalayim, but like tichba, and it's not going to be extinguished. It says Gemara, my like tichba. What does it mean? It's not going to be extinguished. So Menachem Yitzchak says b'shosha in b'nei adam mitzuim l'kabois. It means it's not. It's going to be at a time that people are not around to put it out, meaning on Shabbos, when people cannot put it out, and people are in shul that they're not around to put it out. But be that as it may, because of Chil Shabbos, like the pasuk says, I'm going to be betzati ish b'sharel. There's going to be because leisishmu la lekadas yom Shabbos, because you didn't keep Shabbos. That's why there's a fire. Now the Gemara says starts a discussion regarding what was the Yerushalayim destroyed for. The first one being because of the topic at hand, but then says many different interpretations of what caused the Churban Yerushalayim. Amar Bai says lechav Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim wasn't destroyed. El b'shlosh shechil b'as Shabbos. Again, that's why we're bringing this in, because it's talking about the topic, because they desecrated the Shabbos. Shemai says the pasuk in Yecheskel, which later on it says a pasuk v'eshbech aleim zami, that I poured on them my wrath, meaning Hashem went and destroyed Yerushalayim. So earlier it says because from my Shabbos they turned a blind eye. When I was profaned amongst them. So again, because of Chil Shabbos, that's the first interpretation why Yerushalayim was destroyed. And other interpretations, Amr Bavoi says, Yerushalayim wasn't destroyed because they missed Kriya Shema in the morning and the evening. Shemai says the pasuk in Yeshaya, it says, woe to those who get up in the morning, which refers to Zman Kriya Shema, but but they run after beer, as the pasuk continues, etc. And late at night they're on fire from wine. It says over there in the pasuk, it says, and there's the harp and the lyre, the drum and the flute. Basically, these guys are jamming. The yain mishtem, and their drink is wine. And for the actions of Hashem, they don't look at, meaning they don't pay attention to think about the name of the Creator. And it says later on, it says, therefore my nation went into exile without any consciousness, again because they're not even focusing, noticing God, saying Kriya Shema in the morning and the evening, therefore Yerushalayim was destroyed. The Gemara says the third interpretation, of Nun, he says, Yerushalayim was destroyed because they stopped the school children from learning Torah. It says the pasuk in Yirmiyah, which is the beginning of the pasuk there says, Veschamas Hashem, the Leisi Hachel, is talking about the fury of Hashem coming out and destroying Yerushalayim. It says, Shafeich al oil b'chutz v'geimer, pour it out on the little children that are on the outside, etc. So what does that mean to say? The Gemara explains. Matam shleich, why is Hashem pouring out His wrath on the Jewish people and destroying Yerushalayim? Mishum de oil b'chutz, because the child is on the outside, because he's not in yeshiva, because he's outside of the walls of yeshiva. That's why the Yerushalayim was destroyed. Now, Amar Ula, he says another interpretation. He says that Yerushalayim was destroyed because they weren't embarrassed one from the other. And he says, I don't care about this guy. Everyone does their own thing. I don't care what they think about me. Shlomo says the pasuk in Yirmiyah. And again, that's where social consequence in Yiddishkeit always has the social element. It says the pasuk in Yirmiyah, Hayvishu. They should have been embarrassed. Because they did an abomination. But embarrassed, they're not embarrassed. And as the pasuk there continues, and therefore they fall amongst those who fall. Because there's something about busha, which is one of the three characteristics of a Jewish person. You're a little bit embarrassed. You come in, you put on the yarmulke, whatever this and that, but they weren't embarrassed, and because of that, Yerushalayim was destroyed. Another interpretation, Amr Rabbi Yitzchak, he says, Yerushalayim wasn't destroyed, because everyone was equal. The great and the small says, what's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? That because everyone was equal, that's why Yerushalayim was destroyed. Shlomo says the pasuk in Yeshaya. It was like the people was like the leader. And it says after that, the earth was emptied out. There was gullus. Yerushalayim was destroyed because there's some people that are leaders. They're for a certain reason, and you're not, and you should understand that difference. Another interpretation, says Yerushalayim was not destroyed because they didn't rebuke one another. Shlomo says the pasuk in Eicha, its leaders were like harts, which is a certain type of like a deer. Like Matsumir, they didn't find any pasture where to graze. What does that mean? The leaders were like a hart. Ma'al zeh, just like this animal. The head of this one is by the tail of this one. That's how they walk. The head down by the other one's tail. So to the Jewish people, the leaders of that generation, the cup in the air, they put their head in the ground, but they didn't rebuke one another. That's not how the Jewish people are. A person has to, if someone was stealing your money, would you say something? Someone was disrespecting your mother, would you say something? How come for Hashem it's any different? No, man. Who am I? What am I to say? Suddenly your brother, suddenly you stick up and you get in the guy's face. So you say that about my brother, you're not going to be here anymore. Why there suddenly you get excited? And God is not any more important. The Jewish religion, tradition that went up for thousands of years, that kept the word going. That's not. We don't have that sensitivity, and therefore Yerushalayim was destroyed. Another interpretation, the Gemara says, Lechab Yerushalayim because they disgraced Talmudic scholars. It says, they were disgraceful to the angels of God, and they degraded his words. They would laugh at his prophets until the anger of God, so to speak, filled up against his people. Until there's no more healing, there's no way out anymore. It says, what does it mean until there's no therapy for this? Let me read them around. It says, because whoever disgraces a Talmudic scholar, there's no healing for his wound. That's something that's gone too far. Another teaching related to what we said before, also from Rabbi Shloimy, he says, what does it mean the pasuk in Divrei Yomim Aleph? Al tigu b'meshicha. Don't touch my anointed ones, says Hashem. Uvin v'yai al tereyu, and to my prophets don't harm. So that refers, al tigu b'meshicha, don't touch my anointed ones. That refers to El Tznegesh Shabbos. That refers to the young children. And the reason why we call them b'meshicha is because normally they would smear young children with oil. Therefore they're called, according to Rashi, b'meshicha. And Hashem has a very special place for young children. And my prophets don't hurt. That refers to the Talmudic scholars. Why are they called Nevi'im? Because we find like a pasuk in Tehillim that says the Navi and the prophet is Lavav Chachma, as a heart of wisdom. That refers to Talmud Chacham, who is, we know, a Chacham Adav Min Navi. A sage is actually even better than a prophet because he's able to understand things that are not necessarily direct. Related teachings to Negesh Shabbos Rabbim, to young children. Amr Shlakish Mashim Reading Nasiya says, Eino Elam Miskayim, the world doesn't stand, El B'Shvil Hevel to Negesh Shabbos Rabbim, only because of the breath of young little children from the learning of Torah that they say. So Amalei Rav Papa Labais, Rav Papa said, what's with me and you? And we're great Talmudic scholars. What is it, little children? They're learning, that's better than us. We're discussing all the great secrets of the Zohar and the Talmud. Says Amalei he said to him, you can't compare breath that has sin to breath that doesn't have sin. These children are pure, and whatever they're saying is you can't compare all the toxins that we have in our own selves to their when they learn Torah. Which, Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of children learning with us in many different places. And also, Amr Shlakish from Rabbi Nasiya, another teaching from Shlakish from the name of Rabbi Nasiya, says, we don't stop young children from learning Torah, even to build the Beis HaMikdash. And also, Amr Shlakish Rabbi Nasiya, Shlakish now said Rabbi Nasiya, says, this is a tradition I have from my fathers. Some say, from your fathers. Any city that doesn't have little children that are learning Torah, they destroy it. Now, the word destroying sounds like okay, but there's still a remnant. But Rav Nami says a more severe tradition. He says they annihilate it. That there's not even any remnant from the city. Again, because that's what sustains the world. That's what sustains the city when the little children are learning Torah. Now, continuing with what we said before, another interpretation for why Yerushalayim was destroyed. Mamar Rav says Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim wasn't destroyed because they stopped being faithful people that you could trust. They weren't trustworthy people. So like I said, the pasuk in Yirmiyah, Shaykitu b'chutzis Yerushalayim, go search outside of Yerushalayim. Go out and see and know. And seek in its streets. If you're going to find a person, if there's someone who does judgment, who seeks the truth, Hashem says, I'll forgive it, but there's no one, you can't trust anybody anymore. And that's why Yerushalayim was destroyed. So is that really so? But the Amr of Katini says, even by the downfall of Yerushalayim, like Pashkim and didn't stop being faithful people. Like it says the pasuk in Yeshaya, it says, if a person would grab a hold of a man, his brother from his father's household, he would tell him, Simlocha, you have the clothing. Katzim Tiyalon, you should be a leader for us. What does this mean? So it means something deeper. Dvarim shebnei adam miskasmen kisimla, something that people usually cover themselves, like clothing. Meaning, when they ask them, explain me this Torah thought. So they make themselves as if they're hiding something, as if they don't want to say, like covering themselves with clothing, but the truth is they don't really know the answer. But, so people usually cover themselves, but yeshna b'yadecha, you actually have it in your hand, you are proficient. So you should be for us the leader. You teach us wisdom. As the pasuk says, "V'amachshela zois tachas yedecha." This stumbling block is underneath your hand. What does this mean? As it gets into Kaf Chaf Amar Aleph, Devarim shebnei Adam oimdim aleim. Something that people, you don't stand on it, meaning you're not able to get the veracity and the clarity of something to say it according to the appropriate halacha. Until you first don't stumble on it 2 or 3 times, you say it the wrong way, which are the understandings which are contradictory, and then you finally get the understanding. Every Torah, you have to first make a mistake, and then you'll get it. As my father used to say, the one who gets lost the most knows the way the best. Torah is the same thing. You're not going to get it until you stumble in it. But that's what called machshela. This stumbling block refers to the words of Torah. Yesh tachas. You have it. Katzim tiyalonu. You be a leader for us. Everyone else, they're fakers. They're this. They don't know anything. You be a leader for us. So that's what it says in pasuk in Yeshai. And this is all illustrating that the guy they're claiming knows Torah. It says Yisba Yemahu Lemer. He's going to lift up on that day to say, I'm not going to be a ruler for you. Again, so the simple translation of the pasuk sounds like you got the beautiful clothing, you have the ability, you be the leader for us. But like we're saying, the deeper understanding is they're saying, you know Torah. You have this machshela, you go and be our Rav, you be our leader. So the person is saying, Ein Yisei Lashon Shvua. When he says, V'yisa b'yemahu, the word Yisa means the terminology of an oath. He's swearing, and so the Bechei Namas says the pasuk in Shmos, L'yisisa Hashem Ekecha. Don't raise up the name of Hashem, your God, meaning in vain, which is don't take an oath. So this guy's swearing, he says, Lo Erechevish. He says, I'm not going to be your leader. Because what does he mean to say? I'm not from those who close themselves up in the Beis HaMedrash. Mean to say, I'm not the guy, I'm not a Talmudic scholar, I don't know this. In my house there's no bread, there's no clothing, meaning, Gemara says, I don't know Chumash, I don't know Mishnah, I don't know Gemara, I don't know anything. Why are you coming to me to tell me to be your leader? So one thing is, says the Gemara, that we see that they did have faithful people. The guy was honest. The guy said, I don't know. So you see that they were truthful. Says the Gemara, wait a second, how do you know that because he was honest and faithful that he said he doesn't know? Maybe he has to say the truth. Because maybe there's different. The Amalu Gamir, if he's going to tell them, yeah, I know a lot, I know halacha, I know this, I know all the secrets of the Torah. Amalu said, Emelon, Nizul, Fahed, can't put him down the table. And of course he has to say he doesn't know, he's going to be embarrassed. Says he, no, you should have said Gamar V'Shachar. He said, no, I knew. I guess, and I don't remember the guy. Yeah, I used to be good, when they say basketball. Oh, back in the day, yeah. Now I have those braces that we could all say that, right? I used to know. So therefore, says the Gemara, he could have gotten out of it. My loy eichavish. Why is he saying I'm not going to be? Meaning to say that I didn't sit in the Beis Medrash klal at all, which means to say that he's saying the truth. He says I never told the Torah. So you see anyway that you do have faithful, honest people. Says Molek has not difficulty. Kam b'divrei Torah. When they came to the words of Torah, they were honest and truthful, and they didn't praise themselves regarding any lies. But Kam b'masamat, when we said that Yerushalayim was destroyed because there were no honest people, meant in business dealings. Like my father says, Rabbi Shloimy Schwartzberg, I think he said it once before, when you come to Geld, it's wird an andere Welt. Meaning, Torah, for Torah business dealings, so they were honest. But when it came to business dealings, that guy would sell you for a quarter. There was no honest person, no one that you could trust, and therefore Yerushalayim was destroyed. Some of the things we spoke about today's Daf and Shabbos Daf Kufi Test was regarding continuing on the theme of Kavod Shabbos, Einik Shabbos, which we know we say in L'Chadaydi, Boyi Kala, Shabbos is called the Kala, and because we have this endearment, it's called the Shabbos Queen, we're very excited when Shabbos comes. We had many different customs of many different Amiram regarding Kavod Shabbos, salting the fish, and flaming the fire, and schlepping packages. Yeah, you should do it yourself, even though you have cleaning help, live in, whatever it is, you should do it yourself. Show the honor, because someone that you or some celebrity that you love, you would say, hey, come here. You would take care of the packages. Shabbos is no less. We had the famous story of Yissim, like a Shabbos, that because he honored Shabbos and he would always buy the fish, and he got that fish that had the pearl from that neighbor who was trying to stay away from this guy, keeping his neighborhood strong and not having the Jew take everything, ended up losing himself by having the hat blow into the water. We spoke about the wealthy people. And Eretz Yisrael is because they give Meiser, and Babel is because they honor the Torah, and Chutz La'aretz is because they honor the Shabbos. And like the butcher who became wealthy says, because I always said, let this be for Shabbos. Amarti Zutei LaShabbos, because he always put away for Shabbos. So Yanavi told him, he says, you borrowed for Shabbos, Shabbos pays you back. And then we said that there's a spice called Shabbos, but again, that's only for the one who keeps Shabbos. If you don't keep Shabbos, Shabbos is boring. Shabbos does not have any delicious element for you at all. But if you keep Shabbos, then you experience, you're totally mindful of that experience, and therefore that's something beautiful spice that you gotta taste it to experience, which many people came closer to Judaism just simply experiencing a Shabbos, which they never connected to anything of Yiddishkeit. Shabbos gives you a taste of that. We said v'chibadita. How do you honor Shabbos? What do you mean? During the weekday, I have prime rib. I have the best wines. How am I showing Shabbos is better? Either making the Suda later or making it earlier. That shows something different. It shifts things around, and that shows the honor. We said about saying by Yechulu on Friday night. It says if you became a partner in the Maisa Bereshis, and you have these two ministering angels that escort you, and they say the pasuk that your sins are forgiven. And we said so to those angels, they come, and if the table is set and the candles are lit and all those things, they say next Shabbos should be the same thing. If not, the next week is over. We said that the table should always be set on Erev Shabbos for Friday night, and Matzah Shabbos, you can eat very little, but still it's a sign of dignity. People light 2 candles. You show that it's important to you, and therefore that's a sign of Kavod Shabbos, both coming in and going out. We said having warm water on Matzah Shabbos is therapeutic, so too regarding warm bread. We said about Amen Hishmerab B'chol Koiche, either with all your intent or with all your energy, that then it tears up a Gzar Din. Then in general, when you say Amen B'chol Koiche, they open up the gates of Gan Eden. Amen stands for Kel Melech Ne'aman, which is the God who's the faithful king. That's what Taisa says a person should have in mind when he answers Amen. Also, a fire is only in the place generally where there's Chil Shabbos. And that got us to discussion regarding Churban, that of Churban Yushalayim, which many different interpretations. The first one being regarding the topic of our sugi, regarding Chil Shabbos. We had also because if people don't say Kriya Shema in the morning and the evening, people that the young children not learning Torah, they didn't have embarrassment one from the other, or they treated everyone equally, which the Katan and the Gadol were the same, which is not appropriate, and they didn't rebuke one another, and they disgraced Talmidei Chachamim. And also the last interpretation was that they stopped having faithful people. Again, like the Gemara qualified, that was in regards to business. But regarding to the retire, the Gemara proved that they did have faithful people. And we also learned that Ein Olam Eskayim B'Shul Hebel Tzunegah Shabbos Rabban, because like we said, that they don't have any chad, and therefore it stands on the breath of the young children learning the Holy Torah. Thank you to Anytime for hosting us.